Hi and welcome to the Denzalist Gaming Podcast. This one's going to be a games review, so if you like that, please share, comment and get involved. So this one's going to be the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge game. This was published by Dotemu, who previously published Streets of Rage 4, which was an absolute brilliant sequel. Basically, what the publisher, and it seems to be sort of a lot of games they fund and things like that are very sort of like nostalgic, like this, like Streets of Rage 4 was a sequel which never happened, but still have like some of the modern combat thing changes to make things a bit more accessible, but still as the feel and the characters and the graphics of the 90s classics. Shredder's Revenge is no different. To say that, like I said, this has been same thing, a licensed property has been sort of made a sequel and not like a remaster or a remake of one of the old arcade games, which I think most of them have been. There was that very failed Turtles in Time remake from the ground up, which failed dismally, where this basically it feels like an arcade game, and I've got to admit it's been one of the most fun games I've played in a long time. The multiplayer function is really fun, and the fact that you can have up to 6 characters on one screen, it's mental, it's crazy, it's frenetic, but it's hell of a fun. And the fact that, like I said, there's that replayability to go on harder game modes. There's, arcade mode, which is even, harder, with fewer lives and, see how far you can get. So there's a lot of sort of, even after I, completed the 16 levels, I was straight playing another game mode, because it's one of those ones which even if because there's unlocks, because there's challenges, and because there's extra little Easter eggs and things you might have missed, you can replay these levels, and that's the fun thing about them. The gameplay style is perfect. It really is. It feels like one of those classic arcade games, and if you've never played the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game, it is it still holds up. Where with this, like I said, it feels just like with little changes and little extra things like dodging and the sort of special abilities you can use, and the fact that, like I said, you can like do a taunt, and if you don't get hit in that time, it basically charges your special, and it's so much fun. Like I said, it's it's timing, it's not too difficult, but like I said, but if you want the challenge, it's there. You can go on to the harder and harder difficulties, which I'm slowly working my way through. But like I said, I think where this game shines, as well as I've got to mention the opening animated intro. Basically sets everything up perfectly, because it feels exactly, it feels like those sort of those 90s cartoons and things like that. And a lot of the characters and a lot of the situations and the ridiculousness of it, it's great. It really is. And yeah, and there's a lot of very different sort of enemies, and and if you've played like a classic Turtles game, a lot of the enemies you will recognise. The annoying robots which chain you, and with electrical attacks, and the Foot Clan with the different colours. Some throw bombs, some have axes and things like that. And yeah, there's a great variety, and and it don't feel like repeated. But where this game has that replayability and that sort of fun is the multiplayer. The fact that you can do a offline multiplayer and or online multiplayer. I think it's I'd love to have about 4 people with PlayStation 5 controllers and just having a blast. It would be so much fun. But like I said, the online, the fact that you can have up to 6 characters, and the fact that even when you complete 16 levels, you have a character to unlock, Casey, and it's not just a character for the sake of it. The way he plays is different to the Turtles. It's the same thing with April O'Neil. She plays very differently. And it's and it's clever, like you said. Some are better at sort of dodging, some have better sort of jump in the air attacks. Some, I think like April O'Neil jumps down really good, so you can sort of use that on certain enemies. So they all work well together, and the fact that there's like some tag animations where literally you can turn your other friend into looks like a fireball and just attack him, and yeah. So, and honestly, it's just the music, and also the original songs. The soundtrack. The Turtle soundtrack is brilliant. What you expect from an arcade game, but the original tracks as well are a lot of damn fun, and I love to get my hands on this soundtrack. Like I said, it's got a bit of the modern sort of the rap sort of funkiness to it, but the lyrics and stuff is all tied in with the Turtles, so it's like, yeah, it's a good mix. It's a good sort of showing of modern a modern game, but with its retro sensibilities, and honestly, yeah, I think it's one of those games I think you could have on your games list for a long time. And like I said, and when you're sort of been playing like your serious RPGs, like if you like me, you just sunk like hundreds of hours in like Elden Ring. It's like I'd love to have a game like this at the time to just have half an hour or an hour and just smile. And honestly, this is, like I said, I have got a bit of nostalgic because I have played like the arcade games and the original console games, I think on the NES and further on. But like I said, the developers, tribute games. I've done a quick look, and I don't think they've had a lot of I think they're one of these sort of smaller developers, but they seem to be very much what the publisher are looking for. Those ones which have small games, but they really capture the sort of, you know, the retro like shooter or arcade type aesthetics, but with more of a modern twist on it. And like it says, and it seems to be, you know, hopefully, you know, this publisher isn't evil like some of these publishers are, because it just seems to be they're picking the right people for the projects. And like I says, you know, with the Streets of Rage game, that was just so well done, and it seems to, you know, that it was given the time, and that's another game I'll have to buy again, because that's another game so much damn fun. And that's what I like about these games. It's like they're not long games, but it doesn't need to be too long, because it's got that replayability, you know. Like Streets of Rage, it's got the characters you can unlock and find. You know, this one's got, you know, collectibles and you know, characters in the you know, Turtles universe I'm not even aware of. Same for a lot of the enemies I weren't really aware of, because you know, it's been a long time since I've watched the cartoons and sort of, you know, read the comics and stuff like that. But does that matter? No, because, you know, the combat's great, it's fast, frenetic, and when you've got, you know, it's as enjoyable with 2 or 3 characters on the screen as it is 6. It's harder to follow what the hell's happening, but like I say, if you can string some combos together and you know, and time things right, it's honestly, it's so much fun. And like I said, you've got that nostalgic sort of enjoyment, but then you've got that, you know, the sort of like modern sort of, you know, improvements, and that's the thing, you know. Even like the original arcade game, you know, you can get emulators and things like that. I mean, I've got an arcade 2-stick sort of setup. I've sort of, you know, made into a desk and turned it into like a proper, you know, retro arcade machine, and the emulators still looks great to this day. And like I said, and playing Shredder's Revenge is just, yeah, it just fits so well as a, you know, a new arcade game, and honestly, it is so much fun. And if it's a shame arcades, you know, are sort of dead and dying now. Well, long dead, most of them. But, you know, if there was like an arcade machine of this, even though I've like completed it, I would be straight on it, because, yeah, like I says, I don't usually gush about games, especially for like reviews and stuff, but for what it tries to do, and, you know, but I think with this game, you know, because sort of you've got that retro revival as well, with a lot of games aesthetically and stuff like that, it fits very well in this. So you could get somebody who's an old school arcade, you know, game fan, or, you know, early console fan, and they will get a kick out of it. But I think they could get another generation, get their kids to play this with them, and I think, you know, they would get a kick out of it as well, because it's very colourful, you know, the animation, the voice acting, you know. I mean, it's like the voice acting, there's nothing great, but it's just little lines and stuff like that, but but it's very in keeping in the 90s, you know. And like I said, you know, the plot's silly, and it's what you expect in any other Turtles game. And I wouldn't want anything else. You know, you've got Bebop and Rocksteady, you know, Krang, and you know, and Shredder, of course. And it's like, yeah, and some parts do get bloody challenging, and there's a few little surprises and things like that. And honestly, and even like the map system, it harkens to like for me, like the old school NES Turtles game, which was hard as balls. But that had the, you know, it's very much sort of like, if you ever played a Scott Pilgrim game as well, it's very much in that sort of style of that sort of like explore, you know, and sort of Super Mario World and things like that, where you sort of have a little avatar and you go across the map and stuff like that. And there's like, you know, unlockables and stuff like that to get points, and the points are linked to your character upgrades. So like, you know, you can get more, you know, you can use more specials at one time, or you have, you know, better health or things like that. So yeah, so it's yeah, the things they implement is very clever. Like I said, it's nostalgic, but a great game anyway. So even if I didn't have this sort of like, you know, love of the arcade games and stuff like that, I would still love this game. I probably would still give it a sort of 8 or 9, because I don't think there's a lot wrong with it. And like I said, even with the 6-player multiplayer, I've had a couple of well, I've had one where the game's froze and there was a, you know, potential server issue, but like I said, but I don't know if that was the host, you know, I don't know if it's a host or server system. I'd have to, you know, look into that, but I've only had one major issue where it's like, you know, cut me out of a multiplayer game. But every other experience is fast, frenetic, and you know, there's so much on the screen, but I've never had any sort of like lag or any sort of issues with it. It just seems to be very well designed, and I'm made to, you know, have up to 6 people. So yeah, and like I said, it's I can't give it a 10 out of 10. I'd give it a 9.5 max, because the thing with Laffy, if, yeah, everyone says, oh, everything's a 10 out of 10, but you've got to sort of like, you know, it's got to be an all-time classic to be a 10. But yeah, I think 9. I think 9's a good one. Like I says, if being critical, like I said, there's a couple of little issues there, but very minor. But you know, majority of how the game's designed and how the combat is and things like that, I love it. And the fact that at the end you unlock Casey as well. It's that's also another fun character to play. So yeah, I highly recommend it. Like I said, if you just like the Ninja Turtles, you'll love this. If you like the old Turtles games, you'll love this. And like I says, and yeah, and I just think I can see why there was so much buzz when it came out, because, you know, what it does extremely well. And like I said, it seems to be given it its time to sort out the, you know, the multiplayer side of it and how that's implemented. But you know, but also having a solid and balanced game, playing it as solo as well. So yeah, I think everything it's done of it is very well. Highly recommend it. I've waffled on for nearly 20 minutes. So yeah, so that's my review of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge. by Tribute Games, and the Temu is the publisher. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, and take care. And if you, like I said, if you like this, please comment or send me an email. Just check on my channel, and yeah, and look after yourselves and look after your mental health. Bye.